welcome back to another episode of The Casey Way. Today I'm going to be telling you a little bit about my travels, how I came to traveling, and why I didn't actually start sooner, why I had wished that I started sooner. So just before recording this episode, I was actually having a bit of a chat with my mum, and she reminded me of kind of where I came from when I was a child, that you wouldn't even recognize me as to who I am now, where I am now. And what I mean by that is when I was a kid, I had like major anxiety, like severe anxiety, and especially separation anxiety from my mother. So I could never go anywhere without like mum, pretty much. I couldn't go to sleep outs. I couldn't go on school trips. My mum couldn't even she couldn't go on vacation. She couldn't go overseas because I used to go into like full panic mode to the point where I was getting ulcers in my stomach. I had to have like gastroscopes if I had to go anywhere, like I had to go on a school trip, I was put on like heavily strong sleeping medication just so that I could make it through the night without, having a panic attack. I remember once my mum went overseas and I had to phone her, and she had to phone me internationally, and she had to talk me to sleep and talk me out of a panic attack because I had such severe anxiety of going out of my comfort zone when I was a little kid. Fast forward to now, today I have traveled to more than 40 different countries, and I've gone to most of them alone. I've done a lot of solo travel trips. So where I switched, I obviously, as an adult, I grew out of the anxiety, the attachment to mum, but it did form in a different sort of way. So I used to not get the stomach pains anymore and the stomach ulcers, but then my anxiety and my stress reappeared as like eczema and psoriasis. So anytime I get anxious or stressed, I break out in like eczema and psoriasis. But I've learned to, obviously control that a bit more. But obviously I've broken out of my attachment to mum, and I knew I wanted to go travel, but I still wasn't comfortable enough. I still didn't have the confidence enough to go by myself. I also thought that I would be super lonely if I went traveling by myself. So when we moved to Australia, that was the first time I ever really even went on a plane. So I was 16 years old. My first trip overseas was this massive overseas trip from South Africa to Australia, big move. But I did get a little bit of taste, even though I didn't really want to move. I did get a bit of a taste of traveling then. And then because I was not happy with being in Australia, I wanted to be back in South Africa, I used to work my butt off after school and fly all by myself every school holidays to my mom's like absolute disapproval. But I used to fly all by myself all the way back to back to South Africa, to go visit my boyfriend who I had there at the time. Yes, I had this long-term, high school boyfriend. So my first solo trip, I was 16 years old. I'd been in Australia for 3 months, and I booked myself a plane ticket and flew all by myself at 16 all the way back to South Africa. So that was one of the first times that I did a solo trip. And then I did that 3 more times over the next couple of years. So very, very quickly, I had to step out of my comfort zone to learn to go travel. But it wasn't really traveling because I was going home, if you know what I mean. You know the difference, like where you travel to go see people. But eventually I got, the courage, and I got the bug where I wanted to actually go start traveling a bit more, and I wanted to go see the world, and I wanted to go to Europe, and I wanted to go to Asia, and I wanted to go to America. Like I wanted to do all these things, but I felt like I couldn't do them alone. I had this preconceived thing that I needed a boyfriend, or I needed someone to come with me because I didn't want to, do all these amazing things and then be lonely. Now, my older brother, he has done so much traveling. He's been all around the world himself, and I always aspired to do as much as he did. And he would always come home and speak about his amazing adventures. And he always used to say, Casey, just go alone. Like, go alone. It's the best way to travel. And I was like, no, I can't do that. I can't do that. Like, I don't want to go alone. Like, that's super lonely. My gosh, was I wrong. Like, I so wish that I had gotten over my fear of going alone so much sooner, because I just kept waiting. I was in and out of relationships. I had a lot of long-term relationships, and we always had these trips planned. We always planned to plan trips, and it's nice to travel with someone and you want to share it with someone. but it obviously was not happening as fast as I wanted, and I wanted to go and they didn't. They wanted to stay. So it wasn't until, I got my heart seriously broken and I was like, that's it, I'm done, I'm out of here, like, let's book a trip, let's do something. So one of the first like vacations that I'd had in even such a long time, but one of the first like proper overseas vacations that I did was with my mum. I said, Mum, let's go on a trip somewhere. And we decided to go on a cruise, which is a whole nother episode, which is actually going to be the next episode where I'm going to tell you about how this one cruise literally changed my entire life. But after this cruise, I had the massive travel bug. And even while I was on the cruise, I decided to book a trip overseas, over to Bali with some girlfriends. I was like, yep, no, I'm done now. I'm done waiting for boyfriends. I'm done waiting for everybody else. I want to travel. I'm going to go travel no matter what. So a couple of girlfriends were like, well, we're going to Bali in November, December. Do you want to come? And I was like, yes, I'm going. After that, and then we went to Bali, which was amazing. And then another two girlfriends went to Thailand. We wanted to go to Thailand in January. And I was like, yep, that's it. Like, I'm coming for sure. And in Thailand, they were only able to stay 8 days. And I decided, I was like, no, this is where I want to see a bit more than just like the little area that I've gone to. I decided that I was going to stay on and I was going to fly to one of the other the Thailand islands all by myself. And that was also one of the first times that I went on like a proper vacation and into a foreign country to travel properly by myself. So I remember saying goodbye to my friends at the airport, heading for another gate, and then heading over to this island, getting off the island, figuring out my way around, getting myself to the hostel. And the beautiful thing about hostels, everybody there is, also a solo traveler, most of them, or they're all like so cool to make friends. Like, traveling alone truly is one of the best ways to travel and the best ways to meet people, because you've got to push yourself so out of your comfort zone. You go and check into this hotel or this hostel or wherever you stay, you get put in a room with a whole bunch of other people, and that's when you got to go, hey, my name's Casey. What's your name? Where are you guys from? What are you guys doing tonight? Or, you go to the bar and you see a table. Like, you can't do this anywhere else in the world other than like at hostels. You can't just go to a bar, see a table of people and be like, hey guys, may I join you? And people are like, yeah, of course, come sit down. Where are you from? And you make friends so quickly. So for so long, once I started doing that, I started kicking myself and wishing that I had started my travels sooner. Since then, I went back to Bali all by myself. I've done more of Asia all by myself. And then in 2016, that's when I got my job on the cruise ship, and I packed up everything. I dropped everything in Australia, packed up my entire life, got a one-way ticket over to the US and started my journeys on the cruise ship, which is, again, another story that I'm going to share about that whole journey, my first day on board, what it's like to be a crew member on board. Like, there's so much that I have that I'm so excited to share with you guys. But to recap all of this, I really wish I'd started traveling sooner. But what held me back was thinking that I didn't, I couldn't go it alone and I couldn't do it by myself, and it's too dangerous and I wouldn't know what to do, or, just all these silly things that I had going on in my head that, if that's what's going on in your head right now, I so wish for you that you just bite the bullet and book a trip somewhere. Book a trip somewhere that you can go. I understand 2020, obviously there's limited places that you can go, and obviously please stay safe and look after yourself. However, if you can do something, it's so liberating learning to be in your own company, just be by yourself and travel by yourself and meet people along the way. I promise it is one of the most incredible experiences that you will ever have. And one of the best ways, let me tell you, from a lot of experience that I've had, traveling alone is the best way to mend a broken heart. So more stories that I will share with you, but the first time I got my heart broken, I went on this cruise and it absolutely changed my life, which is the next episode I will share with you. The second time I come home from a cruise ship, absolutely lost everything, lost my job, lost the man I loved, and I came back to Australia, and within 2 weeks I was like, nope, I can't just sit around feeling sorry for myself. I am going traveling, and I booked a one-way ticket to Rome and traveled all through Europe by myself as well. So that's another story which I will tell you about in a later episode. So like I said, guys, if you are wanting to go travel but you don't want to go travel alone, even as a girl, like, it's so possible. It is so easy to go traveling by yourself as a girl. And if you've got any questions, like, please feel free to reach out to me. I can tell you I've been to a lot of different places all around the world, and I can give you all the tips and tricks and everything that you need to know. But don't be afraid. Like, don't have that fear. Push yourself out of your comfort zone. Go do some crazy things that will absolutely change your life and make your life so incredibly memorable. So that's what I have for you today, guys. If you want to see some of my travel adventures, you want to see some of the things that I'm doing or the van build that we're building, please jump on my social media pages. You can find me at Casey Iola on all your favorite social networks. I'll also link them down below. And let me know if you have listened to this episode. If you do travel by yourself, or if you have wanted to travel by yourself, I would be so excited to speak to you about your travels or your potential travels. Anyway, that's it for today, guys. I will see you on the next episode of The Casey Way.